It is 4:15 hours, August 9th, 2025. A single shadow cuts through the pre-dawn Ukrainian sky. This isn't a return flight. This is a one-way mission. Destination: Russia's largest military drone factory, a facility that spawns 500 lethal drones every month, weapons that will soon turn into ash. In just 10 hours, one unmanned aircraft, an AN-196 LOY, will be over the target. But first, it has to survive the next 30 seconds. The drone passes a friendly air defense position. No ID signal, no data link. Just a low, slow, steady hum that, to any radar, looks identical to an enemy attack. The radar of a Ukrainian Gepard self-propelled anti-aircraft gun snaps its twin 35mm cannons to track. The fire control computer spits out an intercept solution, 8 kilometers and closing. The young operator stares into his scope. The contact matches the profile of a Bayraktar TB2. They know the enemy has captured these before, using them as Trojan horses. His finger hovers above the fire button. At this range, his tungsten rounds would shred the target into confetti. Then, the memory. The midnight briefing, a bizarre, hyper-specific order. Between 0420 and 0430, do not engage any target at 150 meters altitude, plus or minus 5, flying at 150 kilometers per hour, plus or minus 10, through these exact coordinates. No explanation, no context. His watch reads 4:19, 1 minute until the window opens, 4 kilometers and closing. The system screams 94% hit probability. Every military instinct, every fiber of training, demands he shoot. The Gepard's 35mm Oerlikon autocannons can unleash 1,100 rounds a minute. Each shell, a cloud of 152 sub-projectiles, detonating to create a lethal, inescapable storm. Something gnaws at him. Ukrainian drones fly high for survivability, not at 150 meters where every gun can reach them. They launch for dawn strikes, not at 4:15, 7 kilometers. The radar paints it perfectly. 12-meter wingspan, twin boom. Definitely a Bayraktar profile. He remembers the captured one that struck near Bakhmut. But this one, it's following Ukrainian approach protocols while flying toward Russian territory. 6 kilometers out. The drone is robotic, flying as if on rails. No evasive maneuvers, no emissions. At this low altitude, any Russian position will see it instantly. This is a profile that makes no tactical sense, unless the drone doesn't plan to return. 5 kilometers. 4:20 hours. The window is active. His hands grip the controls, his knuckles white. If this is a captured Russian drone, he has seconds to stop it. If this is their mission, he will be the one who ruined it. The crosshairs show optimal range in 5 seconds, but the parameters, they match perfectly. Through his optics, he finally sees it. Not a TB2. It's an AN-196 LOY. The Ludi passes overhead. A ghost acknowledged only by a single officer in the dark. At 4:26, it vanishes into Russian airspace. Morning reports would soon begin, a cascade of confusion about an aircraft that couldn't be stopped. By 6:30 hours, Sector Command near Bryansk has 3 anomaly reports. Slow moving, 50 meters altitude, heading 087 degrees. No response to electronic challenges. Not deviating. The tactical display draws a single horrifyingly straight line from Bryansk, past Nizhny Novgorod, directly to Alabuga. The duty officer orders the immediate deployment of the Pol-21 GPS jammer. This is Russia's electronic shield, a mobile broadcasting tower radiating 1,000 watts of focused electronic noise on both GPS frequencies. It carves out a 20-kilometer bubble where satellite navigation simply ceases to exist. The jammer signal hits the drone at 90 dBm. 10,000 times louder than the whisper of real GPS at 130 dBm. It's like trying to hear a secret whispered next to a jet engine. The AN-196 enters the jamming field at 0634. The EW operator watches the expected sequence. 3 seconds for the signal to overwhelm the receiver, 5 seconds for the drone to recognize the signal loss. 10 seconds to begin the lost link protocol circling or turning back. At 8 seconds, the drone wavers. A tiny wobble as its inertial navigation system compensates. At 10 seconds, it should begin its turn. It doesn't. It steadies itself and continues east. The operator switches to spoofing mode. Now, the Pol-21 doesn't just block GPS. It broadcasts false satellite signals, convincing the drone it is 500 kilometers from its actual position. The drone should turn to correct its course, flying off until fuel exhaustion. The Ludi ignores the false signals completely. Analysis of its flight path reveals the terrifying sophistication. It is not following the railway, which is too easy to ambush. Instead, it is using multiple terrain references. Follow the M3 highway for 10 kilometers. At the distinctive S-curve near Celzo, adjust the heading 15 degrees north. Track the power lines until they intersect the river. Cross at the 3-span bridge, not the 2-span. Each waypoint is chosen for its uniqueness. This is pure optical navigation, complete autonomy. No GPS to jam. No control to override. Russia spent $8 million per Pol 21 unit. Thousands of hours perfecting GPS denial. Ukraine defeated it by teaching the drone to look where it was going. The alert is escalated to the Nizhny Novgorod S-400 battery. Drone inbound. ETA 9:45. Preliminary warning to Alabuga. Confidence, moderate. Arrival estimated at 11:50. By 8 a.m., Russian EW operators are tracking a Phantom and aircraft navigating precisely through GPS darkness, following rivers and power lines like a tourist with a perfect map, each checkpoint bringing it closer to 5,500 waiting Shahed drones. At 9:45, the S-400 battery has been tracking anomaly reports for 3 hours. Now, their radar will find it. This system is the 92 N6E Gravestone radar, the eyes of the S-400, pumping out 100 kilowatts of focused energy. Against a typical fighter jet, the detection range is 250 kilometers, but radar physics are brutal to small targets. The AN-196 presents only a 0.5 square meter cross-section, 6 times smaller than a fighter. That simple fact collapses the detection range from 250 kilometers to just 107. Worse, the drone is flying at 50 meters altitude, using the Earth's curvature as a shield. At 09:45, it briefly climbs to 200 meters to clear a ridge. The radar locks on instantly. Slow-moving UAV. 89 kilometers out. Classification, a TB2 Bayraktar profile. But the location is impossible. This contact is 900 kilometers from Ukraine. The timing couldn't be worse. Shift change at 10 o'clock hours. The overnight crew has 13 minutes left, already mentally checking out. The day crew won't be fully oriented until 10:15. This is the 15-minute gap where no one wants to make a critical decision. The track shows a perfect, straight line to Alabuga, not a wandering reconnaissance pattern. This is a navigation to a specific target. This is where the S-400 and Pantsir relationship fails. The S-400 handles long-range threats with multi-million-dollar missiles. The Pantsir provides close-in protection with its 30mm autocannons. They share data, but the system has a geometric flaw. The Pantsir's guns cannot depress below 5 degrees. At 4 kilometers range and 50 meters altitude, the angle needed is 7 degrees. The drone is literally flying under the guns. The expensive missiles are doctrinally reserved for larger threats. The cheap cannons can't reach it. The contact descends back to 50 meters, vanishing into the ground clutter radar's blind spot. All the reflections bouncing off trees, buildings, and hills create noise, a mess of static where the Earth meets the sky. The overnight supervisor makes a log entry. Possible UAV contact, assessed as reconnaissance, lost in ground clutter, no action taken. By 10:15, when the day shift finally reviews the logs, the Ludi is 40 kilometers past their position. The new operator checks his scope. Nothing there. Dismissed as a false return. The warning to Alabuga is updated. Confirmed drone approach. High confidence. Arrival estimated 11:50. At 11:47 hours, the Alabuga counter-drone station has been tracking the inbound threat for hours. They know of the GPS failure, the S-400 evasion. Now, it is here. 8 kilometers out, climbing through 250 meters, flying straight at them in broad daylight. The system they deploy is the Repellent 1. Purpose-built for this exact scenario. Its directional antenna focuses 500 watts into a 30-degree cone, overwhelming any drone receiver within 2.5 kilometers. Its computer holds 10,000 command protocols, Turkish frequencies, NATO standards, every override command imaginable. The operator activates the system. 500 watts of electromagnetic energy slams into the drone, cycling through all 10,000 commands in 4 seconds. Return to home. Land immediately. Enter hover mode, emergency stop. Every possible override, transmitted in every possible format. The AN-196 flies on, unchanged, straight, level, mechanical. Frequency hopping attack is next. The system hits specific frequencies at microsecond intervals, trying to catch the drone between hops, a technique that had worked on systems thought to be jamming resistant. No response. 5 kilometers and closing. The SER VSS-5 GPS spoofer joins the assault, broadcasting false satellite signals 1,000 times stronger than real GPS, creating a phantom position 500 kilometers away, then gradually walking it back. This has never failed against a GPS-guided system. The drone maintains its course, 3 kilometers. Analysis of its approach path reveals the horrifying truth. The drone is following visual landmarks. Main road to the water tower. Adjust at the railway junction. Correct at the river bend. Pure optical navigation, comparing terrain to stored imagery. But that isn't the worst part. Inside the drone, there is no sensor ball. Removed. No satellite communication dome. Gone. Extra fuel tanks welded where equipment should be. The control receivers were just disabled. They'd been physically removed. Antenna cables cut and capped. Radio modules uninstalled. There was no RF pathway into the flight computer. They were trying to hack a drone that had no connection to hack. All stations switched to barrage jamming. 14 jammers opened simultaneously, creating an electromagnetic storm. 50 watts per megahertz of pure noise, designed to crash any processor through induced currents alone. The drone's computers, wrapped in aluminum Faraday cages, didn't register the interference. The processors kept running. Waypoint 1146 achieved. Proceed to waypoint 1147. Initiate terminal dive. At 11:52, high noon, the AN-196 punches through the anti-drone mesh at 180 kilometers per hour. The steel grid designed for light quadcopters shears instantly against 700 kilograms of aircraft. The thermite warhead penetrates the warehouse roof. The chemistry is instantaneous. 2,500 degrees Celsius of molten metal streams into the stored Shahed drones. The first fuel tank ruptures in 0.3 of a second. Fuel vapor expansion creates a massive overpressure. 2 seconds. 50 drones exploding in sequence. 8 seconds. The roof structure fails from the pressure. 15 seconds. The north wall is blown outward. 30 seconds. All 5,500 Shahed drones are consumed. The fireball climbs to 800 meters. Overpressure shatters windows 5 kilometers away. 6 months of production. $500 million of technology. Vaporized in under a minute. One long-range autonomous drone had proven that in the age of new warfare, all the sophisticated, expensive defenses were nothing more than complex systems shouting at an enemy that couldn't hear them. If you want a deep dive in military, please don't forget like and subscribe for more informative videos about military. Thanks for watching.